Hey guys, today I will be doing a tutorial on how to make this into this. A charging lead for the Typhoon H batteries with of course a balance lead and everything. They are for sale, but I like to DIY everything, so that's why I'm doing this. What we need is two Dean's connectors. I also got some pogo pins from Banggood, which I'm going to use to make the charge connections for the individual cells to balance the battery. You'll need a connector in which you will plug into your charger. In my case, it's an XC60, so it can be anything. It can be another Dean's connector or whatever you use. So you need a bit of heat shrink to put around the connectors for the XC60. A length of wire which is thick enough to use for charging. So battery wire, what's that? Usually it's about 12 gauge wire. I just use some simple speaker wire. I've used it before to charge batteries, and this is safe enough. So I don't know how many gauge wire this is. Yeah, I can't see. It doesn't say. And you need a balance lead for a 4-cell battery. One thing else you need, if you do it this way, it's a 3D printer over here to print out these parts. I already put in the connectors here, but I'll show you later on. And a little housing to fit the connector into. You don't have to do this. You can make this out of anything. I mean, if you're handy enough, you can handle a piece of wood and a drill. It should be fine as well. So that all should work. You can just epoxy them in or something, just glue them in, whatever you think is necessary. What I did was I printed out these and I put in these pogo pins. These are for the balancing, the power connector, and of course the ground terminal on the other side. But now let's get to it and turn it all into this. Right, first of all, I'll get the connector soldered onto the wire. So that's the first thing we'll do. Got my helping hands. Get my connector set up. Now, first, cut the heat shrink down to size. Just 2 small bits is enough. Starting to run out of color, so that's why I'm using yellow. Usually I take black and red, but it's not a big deal here. Now, heat up the connector and get it soldered. First I'll use the flux I always use. Put some flux on there. Oh shit, and of course flux the wires as well. This way your solder will flow much better into the wire and into the connector. So now, first thing I'll do is pre-tin. There we go. Then pre-tin this connector. This will take a bit longer probably. Nope, not really. Get some more in there. Best thing is to really fill up the connector holes because the more solder you get in there, the stronger the connection will be, and the better it'll be able to resist high currents to go through it. So always first put on the heat shrink. Really sucks if you forget, because then you'll have to undo everything again. Now, the side with the bulge is always the negative side, so first we start with that one. Wait for it to heat up, and you'll feel the wire drop in. There we go. Let it go. Just hold it there for a bit. because this is a big solder joint. You usually have to hold down the wire a bit longer for it to cool. Heat up the other one, turn it over so it's probably better for you guys and easier to see, although I imagine if you're doing this they already have some soldering skills. There we go. Now let's see if it really filled up. Now on this side I can see that there is still a whole lot of room in there to get some more solder in, so that's what I'll do. I'll reheat it. That's my charger that's ready. There we go. Add a lot of solder in there. Push the wire back in and release. Oh shit. I just realized that this magnifying glass was all in the way of the camera all the time. Yep, now we're there. Now that looks good, so I'll add the heat shrink, because the heat from soldering will shrink the heat shrink down. At least it'll keep it in place. Now I'll flip it around, see how this one does. This one has cured pretty well, so I'll just leave it. Add the heat shrink. Damn, nearly burned my fingers. Then we apply some heat to get the whole heat shrink shrunk around it. In my case I'll use this little blowtorch because it will go fast and easy. There we go. Now we have this one done. Next up, pre-tin the other side of these wires. So get some tin out. Let me get this in view. There we go. Make sure all the wires are tucked in nicely, because otherwise you'll get frayed wire, and a frayed wire can always stick out and get a short if it connects to another terminal or whatever, so always make sure they are nice and flat. Nice blobs of solder on there. Okay, now we're good to go. These will be easily inserted into the mount. You can just push them out, pull them out, whatever you like. Use some pliers and you can just pull one of these out to get this side. So now if you are wondering what the correct code is for the wires, it's pretty easy. You can measure your battery if you want, but the easiest thing to remember is just that this terminal is the plus side. Then we have these four terminals are the cells, and this one is your negative. So all you have to do is remember the side with the two pins, the outward side on this one. This is your positive terminal. The only wire you connect to this one is the positive for the XT60. So this one goes on this outside and this one goes on the other outside. If you take your balance lead, the left wire is your negative. Yeah, so the outside wire is your negative. So this one and this one connect together. So they go together on this pin. This side, your positive side, is only for this one, because these four are the balance leads. So these go to all 4 individual cells. But enough talk, I'll just get to the soldering and then I'll show you the easiest way to connect them. So I'll start with the negative, but before I do that I'll pre-tin all of these. So first I got my flux out again, flux the whole bit, everything fluxed. There we go. And then we'll start pre-tinning. These will take a long time to heat up, but thanks to the flux, that'll get things flowing a bit faster. As soon as you hear that flux sizzling, you can just add your solder to the tip of your soldering iron, and then it'll flow automatically onto the connector. So these just need a little bit of solder because they're just tiny connectors. Now I'll pre-tin the balance lead. It is already pre-tinned, but I don't know what kind of solder they used in the factory, so I'll use my own solder to re-tin them. You don't have to take off the old solder. It's just as long as you mix it together, it'll stick well. So and here's another little frayed wire. So that's why you should always check if the factory did a good job, because if they didn't, and you end up with a frayed wire, it might contact another pin, which will short out the whole system. And of course you don't want that. Since these batteries cost 125 euros and a charger is about 80 bucks, that would be a bad thing to waste. So now I'll start with the balance leads first, because I have this cover. I'll start with the negative wire, and that's the only wire I'll push through for now, because then if I push them all through I can't really see which wire goes where, so then I'll have to guess which one goes where, so I don't want that. No, let's get this heated up. Hold it down for a sec, there we go. Wire number 2. So this will be cell number 4. Next wire is up. If you do this, I recommend you solder these pins onto the wire first, because that'll make it a lot easier. Then you won't have to hold them this long, and it'll be easier to center when you glue them in. There we go. Now for the XT60, it's easy enough. Just push it through. Oh, hold on. I need to get some heat shrink on this side. Not really sure why I put the heat shrink on, but it makes me feel more comfortable knowing that this terminal will be isolated when I'm charging. Probably don't really have to do that, but when it comes to this power and LiPo batteries, I like to be certain, so apply some heat. There we go. Not too much heat because I don't want my 3D printed stuff to melt. Now hold the other wire as well, because these ones are going to be joined together in the same spot. Oh, and now that I mention it, I forgot the heat shrink to go first. So this is kind of handy that they come loose together. There we go. And we're melting. There we go. Give it a tug to feel if they're all properly connected. This one's still a bit loose. Not the wire, but the glue. I'll fix this later. Now, add the heat shrink. Get this thing out again. Okay, seems good to go. Now I can get rid of my soldering iron. These I don't need anymore. Okay. Now everything's done. Everything's soldered in. So all I have to do is just fit this in there. I wouldn't glue it because they are quite a snug fit, as you can see. It's all pretty tight in there, so. Okay. Now what I do like to do is, before I use this, is measure if there's any continuity between any of these pins, because if there is, then I'll be screwed. So I'll just check all pins. No, we're good to go. You can check if they all measure up. This was my positive. Beep. This is my negative. Works. Now, this was cell. Oh, wait a minute. Check the negative on the balance lead as well. Should be this side. First pin, negative. There we go. No, the second should be this one. Solid beep. Solid beep. Also, and another solid beep. So we're all good to go now. Okay, now let's get this thing plugged in and see where it brings us. So I'll plug in the main power with one hand because the other one's holding the camera. There we go. The balance lead goes into the 4S port. Hold on, 4S. There we go. And then I'm ready to connect the battery. Now, good look. Double-sided terminal that side, so it'll go this way around. No sparks, so that means a little spark. That's not weird at all. There we go. Yeah, fits. Okay, you can always do this the other way around. Now I have this one charging already, the original Typhoon H 5.4 amp hour battery. This is 6.3 amp hour. So I will set it up in the charger. It's port B, so it's the lower part. Oh, this is visible. There we go. Yeah. So now let's get this charging. I want it balanced, so I'll press the start. No, 2.5 it says, so I have to crank it up to 6.4. 6.3, sorry, so 6.3, and it's already on 4S, so, and it says it's all good, so there we go. Now I want to see the individual cells, pretty well balanced already. So now let's leave it there, and it can charge. Now I have two of these made because I have a 2-port charger, so there we have it. I hope you found any use in this video. If you have any questions, just put them below and I will be glad to answer them. And I'll see you in the next one, so take it easy.